Have you ever felt like an outsider in a place that was supposed to feel like home? That's exactly how I feel every time I visit my partner's family. Despite my best efforts to fit in and forge genuine connections, there's always this lingering sense of being unwelcome that I just can't shake off. It's like there's an invisible wall between us, and I'm left wondering if it's something I've done, or if it's something deeper. Could this barrier ever be broken, or am I destined to remain on the outside looking in? I'm a 28-year-old woman, currently in a committed relationship with my partner, Alex, who I've been with for about 3 years. We met through mutual friends at a dinner party, and since then, our relationship has grown into something truly special. However, there's one aspect that continues to weigh heavily on my heart: his family. Alex comes from a close-knit family, the kind that has Sunday dinners and annual camping trips. As an only child raised by a single mom, I've always yearned for that kind of familial bond. Initially, I was excited to meet them, hoping to become part of their circle. But from the very first encounter, I felt a chill in the air. It started subtly. A dismissive glance here, a cold shoulder there. At first, I thought it was just nerves on my part, or perhaps they were just protective of Alex. But as time went on, that feeling of being an outsider became more pronounced. Every visit left me questioning myself. Was it something I said or did? I tried harder each time, offering to help in the kitchen, bringing thoughtful gifts, and engaging in conversations about their interests. Despite my efforts, I remained on the periphery, never truly embraced as part of their family. The situation has been slowly building up over the past year, and it's reached a point where I dread family gatherings. I find myself anxious and preoccupied with thoughts about the next encounter. This emotional turmoil is starting to affect my relationship with Alex, and I'm at a loss about how to address it without causing friction between us. As if the persistent chill from Alex's family wasn't enough, things took a turn for the worse last Thanksgiving. It was supposed to be a day of gratitude and warmth, but it quickly spiraled into something that felt more like an emotional ambush. Alex and I had spent the morning preparing a dish to contribute to the family dinner, something his mother had specifically requested. I was determined to make a good impression, thinking maybe this time would be different. However, as soon as we arrived, the atmosphere was even more strained than usual. Small talk was stilted, and I noticed his parents whispering amongst themselves, casting occasional glances my way. My heart sank, but I put on a brave face, hoping to break through whatever barrier seemed to be in place. The curveball came after dinner when Alex's sister, who had always been somewhat aloof, decided to address the elephant in the room. In a hushed yet piercing tone, she asked, "So, do you ever plan to make any real contribution to this family, or are you just here for the free meals?" The room fell silent. I was blindsided, my cheeks flushed with embarrassment and hurt, and I struggled to find words that wouldn't betray my growing frustration. Alex seemed caught off guard as well, fumbling for a response that would both defend me and maintain peace. But the damage was done. The evening dragged on painfully, and I felt like every eye in the room was scrutinizing my every move. As we left, Alex tried to reassure me, saying his sister's comment was out of line and didn't reflect the views of the whole family. Yet it felt like the veneer of politeness had cracked, revealing a deeper hostility beneath. This incident only deepened my sense of alienation and insecurity. I couldn't help but wonder if this was just the tip of the iceberg, if perhaps there were more unspoken judgments and grudges that had yet to surface. The anxiety and tension began to seep into my relationship with Alex. I found myself pulling away at times, not wanting to burden him with my feelings of inadequacy and rejection, yet also desperately wanting him to understand the pain I was going through. I started to question if it was worth continuing to put myself in these uncomfortable situations. Each family event now felt like an ordeal rather than a chance to build connections. The emotional toll was heavy, and I feared it was only a matter of time before it would irreparably affect my relationship with Alex. I was caught in a web of stress and confusion, unsure of how to navigate the increasingly complex dynamics at play. Determined not to let the Thanksgiving incident be the final word on my relationship with Alex's family, I decided to take proactive steps. I initiated a conversation with Alex, expressing my feelings in a candid yet calm manner. I told him how much it hurt to feel like an outsider, and that his sister's comment was just the tipping point of a much larger issue. He listened attentively, acknowledging my feelings and promising to help bridge the gap between me and his family. Together, we devised a plan to address the situation. We agreed that the next step was for Alex to have a private conversation with his sister to understand her perspective and to make it clear that her comment was hurtful. Meanwhile, I decided to reach out to his mother, hoping to establish a more personal connection. I thought that perhaps an open dialogue could dispel any misunderstandings and allow us to start fresh. However, these efforts soon met with obstacles. Alex's sister was defensive, insisting that her words were misunderstood and that it was all meant in jest. This left Alex in a difficult position, caught between family loyalty and supporting me. On my end, when I called his mother to suggest meeting for coffee, she politely declined, citing her busy schedule. It was a setback, but I tried not to let it discourage me. In the midst of these challenges, life threw another curveball our way. Alex received a job offer in another city, an exciting opportunity that required serious consideration. This unexpected development added pressure to an already strained situation. If he accepted, it would mean moving away from his family, potentially easing some of the tension, but also complicating our lives significantly. The prospect of moving brought new layers of stress and uncertainty. I worried about uprooting my own life and career for a fresh start that might not solve our underlying issues. Alex was torn between his career aspirations and the thought of distancing himself from his family, especially now that tensions had surfaced. This new challenge forced us to rethink our approach. We realized that the decision about the job and resolving our family issues were intertwined, and we needed to work together more than ever. Despite the setbacks, I felt a renewed sense of determination. I was committed to finding a way through this, not just for my relationship with Alex's family, but for our future together. The ongoing tension with Alex's family has taken a considerable toll on my emotional well-being. Once an optimistic and outgoing person, I've found myself withdrawing from social activities I once enjoyed. The thought of attending family gatherings fills me with dread, and the anticipation of yet another cold reception is enough to cast a shadow over my entire week. I've noticed that I'm more irritable and anxious, not just around Alex's family, but in my everyday interactions. The strain has seeped into my relationship with Alex, creating an undercurrent of tension that wasn't there before. While we've managed to avoid full-blown arguments, there's a palpable distance between us that we can't seem to bridge. It's as if the unresolved issues with his family have built a wall that separates us, leaving me feeling isolated even when we're together. I find myself second-guessing my actions and words, afraid that anything I say might somehow widen the rift between us. At work, my concentration has suffered. Projects that used to excite me now feel like burdens, and I catch myself daydreaming about how to mend things with Alex's family or worrying about the potential move. My colleagues have started to notice, occasionally asking if everything is all right, which only adds to the pressure I feel to maintain a facade of normalcy. Socially, I've become more reserved, often declining invitations from friends because I lack the emotional energy to engage. My world feels smaller, more confined, and it's as if this family issue has overshadowed all other aspects of my life. I miss the carefree person I used to be, someone who wasn't constantly preoccupied with the fear of judgment and rejection. Internally, I'm locked in a battle between hope and despair. Some days I feel determined to find a resolution, convinced that with time and effort, things will improve. Other days I feel overwhelmed by a sense of hopelessness, wondering if it's even possible to change the dynamics at play. The uncertainty surrounding Alex's potential job move only amplifies these feelings, leaving me caught in a web of indecision and fear. Despite these challenges, I cling to the belief that there's still a way forward. The stakes are high, not just for my relationship with Alex, but for my own sense of peace and happiness. As I navigate this emotional minefield, I'm reminded that growth often comes from adversity, and perhaps this experience will ultimately lead to a stronger, more resilient version of myself. As time passes and my attempts to mend the rift with Alex's family continue to fall short, I've begun to consider more drastic measures. The thought of ending my relationship with Alex has crossed my mind more than once, a notion that fills me with both fear and sadness. Could I really walk away from someone I love because of issues with his family? Yet the idea of continuing to endure this emotional turmoil feels equally daunting. I've also contemplated the possibility of moving with Alex should he decide to accept the job offer in the new city. While this could mean a fresh start for us away from his family, it also feels like running away from the problem rather than confronting it. The prospect of uprooting my life and career, only to potentially face similar issues in a new environment, is frightening. These drastic measures weigh heavily on me. Breaking up with Alex would mean losing not just a partner, but a future we had envisioned together. Moving away could isolate us further from our support systems, introducing new challenges that we might not be prepared to handle. I worry about the long-term consequences of these decisions, both for my emotional well-being and for the stability of our relationship. The fear of social stigma also looms large. What would friends and family think if I chose to leave a relationship over family dynamics? Would moving away be perceived as an act of desperation rather than a strategic choice? These doubts plague me, making it difficult to see a clear path forward. I'm torn between the desire for peace and the fear of what these drastic measures might mean for my future. It feels like a high-stakes gamble with no guaranteed outcome. As I weigh these options, I find myself hoping for some sign or clarity that might guide me toward the right decision. Until then, I'm left in limbo, uncertain but determined to find a resolution that preserves my happiness and sense of self. As I sit here, reflecting on my journey with Alex and his family, I'm filled with a mix of emotions: confusion, frustration, and a lingering hope for resolution. Despite my efforts to bridge the gap and the numerous challenges we've faced, the path forward remains uncertain. The potential move looms large, and the decision to either stay or go feels monumental. I'm reaching out to this community because I feel at a crossroads, torn between preserving my relationship with Alex and maintaining my sense of self-worth. Has anyone else navigated similar family dynamics, and how did you manage to find peace? Are there strategies I haven't considered that could help us mend these strained relationships without sacrificing our happiness? I understand that there might not be a clear-cut solution, and perhaps my situation resonates with others who have felt similarly trapped. Whether it's advice, shared experiences, or even just words of encouragement, I'm eager for any insights that could illuminate my path. Ultimately, I'm hopeful that with the right guidance, I can find a way to balance my relationship with Alex and his family, ensuring that neither aspect of my life is compromised. For now, simply sharing my story and knowing that I'm not alone in this struggle offers a small measure of comfort. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to any wisdom you might offer.